Week 7 was actually pretty damn good this week. Week 8, though, I do not expect it to be any easier. Hey there, peeps, Detective Boo here. This got pushed back a day because of the husband stream last night. So we're gonna be doing the predictions today in the afternoon. I know it's very inconvenient for a lot of people, but hey, you fit it whenever you can fit it. And let's get right into it. I went in week 7, 11-4, which is pretty damn good. I think it's my best week all season. If I have to, very close to it. The only other week where I was that consistent was week 4, where I also went 11-4. But yeah, a little bit of the highlights. I correctly predicted the Bengals upsetting the Steelers. Jacksonville got blown out in London. The Bears hold off the Saints to win at home. The Patriots, after a slow start, beat the Titans pretty handedly. The Jets still look miserable on offense, but the defense is playing a little better. The Chiefs, that was a dominating victory. I managed to watch every single second of that. The Browns completely manhandled the Dolphins, and the Dolphins at this point just look broken. The Eagles hold off a Vikings comeback to move up to 5-2. The Colts pretty much outplayed the Chargers in every aspect in their 38-24 victory over them. The Giants, they had the. I could have been 12-3 if it wasn't for the Giants blowing a 19-0 lead in the fourth quarter to lose 30-3 to 32. Yikes. The Cowboys, their offense got rolling again, and the defense finally played at least decently to hold off the Commanders to a 22-point victory. The Packers hold off the scare from the Cardinals and move up to 4-1-1. The Falcons just did not show up in Sunday Night Football. The Niners beat them 20-10. Mike Evans is out potentially for the rest of the year, and that's going to really hurt Tampa Bay. And it was coupled with the loss 24-9 in Detroit, and the Seahawks. That was probably the last thing on their minds was football, as they watched their Mariners get knocked out. But they still at least got a football victory. So, 27-19 was the final score in Seattle. But we're on to week 8 now, which, if y'all know, week 8, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. We got a couple of good games on here, a couple of games, a couple of mysteries as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how each of these games play out. But let's start things off with tonight's matchup at 7:15 Central Standard Time, 5:15 Pacific Time, where this game is being played. You got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Vikings nearly had a really good comeback against the Eagles, but Wentz kind of showing that he is not capable of being a caliber starter, as he just could not get the offense rolling whatsoever. And the Vikings just struggling to really do anything a whole lot when they needed it most. And the defense, I don't know what exactly they were doing on that last drive, but you know what? Sometimes it just happens like that. They still outgained him in total yards, so if you want to take a couple of victories away, that's also one that you can say, hey, the Vikings actually did stuff. Unfortunately, the defense really couldn't step up when they needed to, so because the Vikings won time of possession, they won the total yards in the game, and yeah, they actually played some really decent football. However, Wentz threw 2 picks, and that's what really cost the Vikings at the end. So, yeah. He is expected to start again this week. I don't know why, unless they really want to make sure JJ's fully healthy, ready to go. But still, I don't know how much longer you can keep playing Wentz with McCarthy still trying to rehab his ankle injury. And speaking of injuries, the Chargers got completely exposed by the Colts of all of their injuries so far. Joe Alt did come back this week, so it was a nice addition to that O line for the Chargers. Unfortunately, that doesn't really help all their other injuries on offense as well. So, and it really showed. Herbert, he had 3 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 picks on the game. So make what you will of that. Um, they still outgained him in total yards, at least. So you got that rolling for you. And they won the time of possession. So it is interesting to see how that defense is just crumbling to that NDD. So it's gonna be. This is an interesting game. Both teams really need a bounce back victory after some losses. The Chargers have been in a free fall since their 3-0 start. They're 1-3 since then. And the Vikings, they really need to find some consistency with Wentz. I don't know what's going to be the difference maker, but let's see. Taylor rushed for 94 yards on that Chargers defense, including 3 touchdowns. So there is a weak spot on the Chargers in terms of rushing. If you can get the rushing game rolling for the Vikings, you might have an easier time with taking the game. But otherwise, the Chargers might have their way in this one. And I think it is going to come down to that. I am going to go with the Chargers here. They need this victory a lot more than the Vikings do at the moment. And I do think I think Herbert's going to have himself a pretty good game again. And I think on paper, this team is a lot better than the Vikings. It is going to be a close one. I would not be surprised if the Vikings took this game. But for now, give me the Chargers. And yeah, we're gonna see by the end of the night who's going to need a lot more help going into the middle of the season. Then there's no international games, thank Christ. You got the start of the noon slate. Starting off with the 1-6 Miami Dolphins taking on the 3-3 Atlanta Falcons. Oh my God! If the Dolphins season, you really thought it couldn't get any worse, and it just flat out got worse. 1-6, and man, getting completely rocked by the Browns. Tua Tagovailoa turning the ball over like it was freaking Christmas Day or something. He had 3 picks on the day. Quinn Ewers had to step in for a little bit for Tua as he got benched. But it was not nearly enough to save the Dolphins. They got blown the doors off of them, 31-6. And yeah, you just wonder how capable. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. Mike McDaniel is not fired at this point. And yeah, it's a long. It's gonna be a long season in Miami. I bet they're probably mentally preparing for that at this moment in time. And yeah, it's just not getting any easier for Miami. I did not expect them to fall off this hard, but yeah, it's just not looking great. As for the Falcons, they didn't really show up much in their Sunday night loss to San Francisco. The offense couldn't really get rolling behind Michael Penix. He didn't have a bad game, but he did not have a good game. And that defense for the 49ers completely ran them over. And on the other side of the ball, they really allowed a really good game by Christian McCaffrey on the rushing game. So you're just wondering how is this team gonna rebound now that they get the Dolphins? They have this is their get right game. If they lose this game, it's gonna be a very big question mark of whether Atlanta's truly capable of playing for an NFC South title race, because that loss really hurt them as Tampa ended up losing to the Lions. So they could have potentially gained a little bit of ground on the Buccaneers, but right now it's Atlanta. You just don't know about this team. Going into this game against Miami, though, the Dolphins are just that helpless. I have to pick Atlanta at home. I think this is going to be their rebound game. I think Michael Penix is going to have a bit of a good day against the Miami defense, which allowed 31 points to Dylan Gabriel. And on the flip side of the ball, I think the defense is going to finally is going to come back into their best form. I wouldn't say true form because I still don't know what that is for Atlanta, but they're gonna play pretty damn good against that really weak Miami offense. So we're gonna see how well this team truly is, in the upcoming weeks, as the schedule does not get easier for Atlanta after this game. I think they got the Patriots and Colts up next after this game, so they've really got to establish themselves, make sure everyone is healthy, and yeah, it's gonna be an interesting weekend for the Falcons. Up next, you got the New York Jets taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jets. If there's any team that's more helpless than the Dolphins, it's the Jets. And the only reason Miami is not winless this season is because the Jets exist. The New York Jets. It feels like a lifetime ago when people were talking about, hey, this team could actually be legit with Aaron Rodgers. Now they've got a QB along with their great defense. This team might actually make the postseason. Oh, how far off they were. The Jets benching Justin Fields on the day, with Tyrod Taylor now being their starting QB, and it didn't really prove a whole lot as the offense still couldn't get rolling, with him and such, in a 13-6 very defensive loss. And it's not even crediting to their defense, because Bryce Young ended up getting hurt on the day. You kind of hope for his recovery as Panthers fans, but yeah, it just was not a good day for New York. And it's just like you're just wondering, are they going to be tanking now for the number one overall pick? Because at this point, it's a lost season for New York. It is getting so bad in Gotham. Meanwhile, for the Bengals, hey, you gotta win. You gotta win over the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football. The battle of the old men, and Joe Flacco came out on top, throwing 3 touchdowns and over 300 passing yards. Good day for him. You also got a little bit of the ground game going with 108 yards from Chase Brown, which you love to see that as a Bengals fans, as you're not really hoping for a whole lot. And suddenly, this team might actually get back to 500. Is it still going to be a long season for the Bengals? Absolutely. They still got the Bears, the Steelers again, the Patriots after this game. But you want to take advantage of every single game you can get. I almost want to say I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets take this game, but the Jets, just like the Dolphins, are that helpless. I gotta go with Cincinnati here. It's going to be a very, very tough game for New York to win. Well, I could say that about any game at this point. But the Bengals, man, if they can find a little bit of mojo with Joe Flacco, maybe they'll have something like what the Browns had 2 years ago with Joe. But I don't see a whole lot of that. But in this game, at the very least, they're going to get the W. If they lose this game, though, I think it's going to be very, very chaotic in the city of Cincinnati. But I don't think that's going to happen. Hello, Zero. Up next, you got the Cleveland Browns taking on the New England Patriots. Whoo, man, Cleveland. You didn't really have to beat down a dead Dolphin like that. 31-6. Dylan Gabriel having himself a game. A pretty decent game. Completing 13 of 18 attempts of passing, 116 total yards. He didn't get any picks or touchdowns, but it didn't really matter, as Quashon Judkins really executing well on the running game, which is something Cleveland's been needing since the departure of Nick Chubb. So it's good to see the Browns actually finding maybe a potential answer in their running game. And as for the defense, they had their way with the Miami Dolphins, allowing only 6 points on the day. They did allow more yards, but the rushing yards was under 100, so you'll take that. Yeah, it was a pretty damn good day. They took away the ball from Tua 3 times. It was a pretty damn good day for Cleveland. And for the Patriots, they got up to a slow start. I'll be honest, I was a little worried for them at first, but after that, they put belt to ass on the Titans, 31-13. Drake May might actually be the real deal. 222 yards, completing all but 2 of his 23 attempts on the passing game. 2 touchdowns for him in the air. It's looking really, really good for New England, and you just wonder, is this team back? Which, as a long sufferer of the New England dynasty, I really do hope not. But at least we got the Chiefs on my end to defend that. But anyways, yeah, the Patriots did very, very well on Sunday after that slow first quarter, and you don't expect them to really slow down much in this game against Cleveland. Yes, I think if the Cleveland Browns do get the running game going like they did last week, I think this could be a bit closer of a game than people expect. But I don't feel like the Patriots going to have that much trouble with that. I'm going to go with New England in this game. It's at home. They really want to keep this momentum going, especially with Buffalo coming off the bye this week, and the Bills looking for revenge on some teams. And I think the Patriots are going to get this victory here over the Cleveland Browns. But hey, at least Cleveland, you had 1 week. You had 1 week where you're actually playing really damn good football. Hello, Lucky Ducks. Up next, oh boy, you got the New York Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, if you're a Giants fan, you are probably in so much pain after that monumental collapse last week. The Giants had a 19-0 lead in the fourth quarter. They allowed all 33 points from the Broncos to come in the fourth quarter. When have you ever seen a collapse like that for any team? And no, I mean, even the 33-0 lead blown by the Colts a couple years ago, at least that happened over the span of a couple of quarters. This all happened in the span of 15 game minutes. Imagine that. The Giants, though, are really, really looking to rebound. Jackson Dart actually played a pretty damn good game. I think people keep forgetting about that. 283 total passing yards, 3 touchdowns on the day, but he did have a pick. Everyone else, though, really didn't have that great of a day in Denver, so you're just hoping to see a little bit more of a team effort this week. But yeah, I think the Giants, I think people overreact the Giants a little bit. I think they still are a really damn good football team. One that's won, especially without Malik Neighbors, especially without some of the key pieces on offense. I think this team could actually be really, really dangerous next year. And even a bit, like one of those cautious teams, like you have to look out for them. Otherwise, they're going to take advantage of you this year. So... And I would say that about the Philadelphia Eagles, or I would say that to the Philadelphia Eagles this week, their opponent. The Eagles, it wasn't the best day for Philly, as it typically is this season, but they got the job done. Jalen Hurts stepped up when he needed to. He still had 326 total passing yards in a day, so it was a really good day for Hurts. 3 touchdown passes, 19 for 23, a really good day for him. Barkley, unfortunately, did not have that great of a day. On to 18 carries, he only picked up 44 yards, averaging about 2.5 yards per carry, and you're just really, really worrying about his productivity over the coming weeks, because after this game, they got the bye, but then they have a gauntlet after New York. So they really have to get things set and straight, because now you just worry about the Cowboys trying to catch you now, because they look like they're actually playing really good football at this point. So the Eagles really need this victory. They have just the one divisional win this year over Dallas. They get to play the Cowboys again after this game. You really don't want to go into Dallas and Washington's games 1 and 2 in your division. So you really have to take the second game against New York. And being in Philadelphia, I think the Eagles do get the job done this time. I do not see the Giants beating the Eagles twice in the span of 3 weeks. So, I think New York's going to play a pretty damn close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to like a game-winning field goal for the Eagles or a block like it happened in week 3 for them. But I think the Eagles are going to get the job done. I think they're going to find a little bit more productivity on offense, and if they don't, they might be fucked for the rest of the year, even with the bye next week. Up next, you got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Carolina Panthers. Ooh, Buffalo. You had the bye at least, but man, that was not a good showing previously on Monday Night Football against Atlanta. They were down 21-7 at one point, and they couldn't really muster much offense on top of that. Allen had 180 total passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Wasn't the best day for the Bills QB, and it was just a slow productivity on offense. Granted, they did have a few injuries, and this bye week really gave them a chance to get some of those guys back. So they're hopefully well rested and well prepared to take on the Carolina Panthers team, who actually look really damn good. 3 straight victories for Carolina. This past one wasn't that great, but you'll take victories whenever you can get them. And for the first time since 2021, you guys are over 500. What about it? Unfortunately for the Panthers, it did come with a cost though. Bryce Young is out, I believe, for this game, so they're going to rely on the Red Rocket and Andy Dalton to help carry the offense this time around. And what was Bryce injured with again? I gotta look this up. So, because I don't think Bryce Young wasn't practicing, so it does look like Andy Dalton's going to come in because Young suffered an ankle injury, which is typical on a turf field in New York. So, but the Bills, I got to give it to the Bills in this game. They need a desperate bounce back game after 2 straight losses, coming off the bye, getting some of their guys back. They're going to catch Carolina at a pretty damn good time where the Panthers don't look exactly great, especially with Young out potentially for this game. So, and even if he's in, I don't think he's going to be 100%. So the Bills, I think, take this game. They need this one, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. And if they lose the 3rd straight game, the Bills might be on life support. I'm just going to say that right now. Then, this is going to be a really interesting game. You got the Chicago Bears taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Bears, 4 straight wins this season. Man, this has been a fantastic turnaround for the Bears. And it wasn't the prettiest win, but it was a pretty decisive win at the end for the Bears. Caleb Williams looking like he finally figured that out on offense a little bit, although he did have a bit of a slow game this past week. No passing touchdowns, but he did throw a pick, so it's a bit worrying to see him perform a little bit last week, but it's fine when you take on the New Orleans Saints. Plus, you got a couple of good rushers in DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I am so sorry, but the Bears getting the job done in Chicago, and now they turn the page in the book to take on a completely desperate Baltimore Ravens team sitting at 1-5, dead last in the AFC North. The Ravens, they had the bye last week. They needed to get some guys back. I don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to be playing in this game. He did practice with them this week, so it looks like he may be coming back after that hamstring injury against the Chiefs. And it's a really good time for the Ravens to potentially upset the Bears this week. Unfortunately, I don't know how well that defense is going to be. I don't know how the Ravens are going to really handle the Chicago offense, especially if they get back rolling this week. And the big question on the other side of the ball, can the defense really hold Lamar Jackson this week? And it's a really interesting question. I don't know what to really think of this game, because this could potentially be a massive letdown spot for Chicago, but it also could be another statement victory for the Bears in their turnaround season. I think I am going to go with the upset here. I'm going Baltimore. I'm not really comfortable picking it, but with Lamar Jackson coming back, I think he's going to have a pretty damn big game for the Ravens. And I think the winning streak does come to an end, because I think Chicago finds a way to fuck this up in any way possible. So, give me the Ravens, and if the Bears take this game, they probably are for damn real. Next up, though, you got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Houston Texans, the Niners, Who needs much of a passing game when you got Christian McCaffrey still on offense? This team, with despite all of their injuries this season, they have proven their worth. They are really, really dangerous, and you just wonder how long they're going to keep going like this until the wheels start falling off. Because it seems like they're like the Atlanta Falcons in a way. They are so inconsistent with how they play. Sometimes you just wonder: are they for real? Are they just done? Are they for real? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and they're somehow sitting at 5-2, tied for first with the Seahawks and Rams. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least. Meanwhile, for the Houston Texans, they took a really, really bad loss last week on Monday Night Football to the Seattle Seahawks. That O-line still is horrendous in the offense, and it's affecting that entire offense in general. Stroud had a pretty decent game. Good passing yardage, but his touchdown interception ratio wasn't great. So, can't really give him a whole lot of credit on that aspect. And the Texans overall just did not really show up a whole lot on that game. So, you're just wondering, like, do the Texans really need this game? Absolutely. Are they going to be playing like lights out for it? Absolutely. Are they going to beat the Niners? That's a different question. That might be a bit different of a answer, because I'm not entirely sure. The Niners seem so inconsistent nowadays. It's just hard whether to really take them seriously. What's the deal with San Francisco? And for the Texans, I think they really need this game to have any kind of shot at the postseason this year, to really prove that CJ Stroud is the guy. So I'm going upset here. I'm going Houston in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners also took this game as well. But I think the Texans do need this game a whole lot more than San Francisco does. And I think this is where the offense comes up a little bit. Yes, I know the offense is taking on a really, really scary San Francisco team on defense. But I think the Houston defense can hold the Niners just enough to where they don't need a whole lot of points to beat them. But it's not going to be a pretty win nonetheless. But hey, at this point in the season, when you're 2-4, you'll take any kind of big victory that you can get. Moving on to the afternoon games, we got 3 of them. Starting with our 3:05 game, the sole 3:05 game. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Ugh, Tampa Bay. Well, rest in peace to Mike Evans' season streak of like over 1,000 passing yards, because his injury probably takes him out for almost, if not the entire rest of the season. So it's a big loss for Tampa Bay. It was part of their big loss against Detroit, where they really could have put a statement in the NFC that they were truly that great. And maybe this is the point of the season where Tampa Bay is fine. The injuries are finally starting to catch up to them a little bit. But I don't want to hit the panic button on the Buccaneers that quickly. I think they're still a really damn good team. Baker's still the guy. He just had a bit of an off game this past game. So we'll see how well this team rolls going forward. As for the Saints, they actually put up a halfway decent fight against the Bears. Obviously, it wasn't even close to being enough, though. Spencer Rattler had a fine day until you look at the interceptions thrown. 233 yards, 20 for 32, 2 touchdowns, but he threw 3 picks, which is not going to get it done when you need a game against Chicago. So it is going to be interesting because this game is at home. New Orleans usually plays a lot better at home. Tampa Bay really needs a bounce-back victory after their embarrassing loss to Detroit. And I think as much as I want to pick New Orleans here, I think I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I think they really need this bounce-back game, especially with Carolina and Atlanta trying to catch them in the NFC South, which that's a weird statement to say, especially the Panthers. But the Buccaneers really need to hold on to any kind of momentum they can get. They need to get back to the swing of things on offense. and I think they're going to get the job done. It's not going to be the prettiest of wins, but it's going to be enough, which, if you're Tampa Bay, that's all you can ask for right now. Ooh, we got a really good game next. You got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dallas, you finally had a halfway decent game by the defense. 22 points given up, yes, and but when you have an offense that has freaking Dak Prescott, CD Lamb back, man, that offense is for real. The defense played pretty solid football. They gave up quite a few yards though, but they did force a Daniels pick, which was huge in this game. They also forced the offense to punt 5 times, so pretty good day for the Dallas D, considering how horrid they've looked up to this point. They're going to be taking on a Broncos team that 33 points in the fourth quarter. Is that a fluke, or are they actually like that? Because, my goodness, the Broncos, they needed every single point they could get. And how fortunate for them, the Giants missed their PAT. Because that allowed their field goal to turn from a game-tying one to a game winner. So, I'm not sure what to think of Denver at this point. Because if they played 4 quarters of that kind of football, that team is really, really dangerous. And going into Dallas this upcoming week, the big question is if that offense can show up against the Dallas defense. Because both the offense for Denver and the defense for Dallas finally showed up last week. So who's going to keep the momentum rolling this upcoming week? Then the defense, unfortunately, for the Broncos didn't really show up a whole lot. I think they are going to be bouncing back a little bit. I think the Dallas offense is going to be held a little bit. But give me a bit of a shocker. I'm going Dallas in this game. I think if that offense can... I think that if the Dallas defense can repeat what they had last week a little bit, it's going to be a very interesting game. And I think that Dallas offense, they're going to take advantage of a Denver defense that has not always been elite. So, it's going to be a very, very interesting game. I think Dallas does enough on defense to get the offense, give the offense opportunities to take advantage. And I think Dallas is going to make every single bit of that useful. So give me Dallas in this game. I would not be surprised if Denver wins this game, but it's going to be a very, very interesting game, and I actually kind of am looking forward to it on Sunday. One game I'm not looking forward to on Sunday, though, is this one. You got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Titans, that O-line is ruining everything for Tennessee right now. Cam Ward, I think he's going to be a really, really good QB. I really do think so. But the Titans need to get him help. He cannot do this all on his own. And it showed after the Mike Vrabel revenge game. So yeah, Tennessee really needs to figure things out. And at this point, I don't know how well they're going to be doing the rest of the way. As for the Colts, is there anything that Daniel Jones has not proven to us so far? He is just unbelievable for the Colts right now. And I think the Colts have really elevated to another level. Jonathan Taylor's having himself a fantastic year. The Colts just look like one of the, if not the most dangerous team in the NFL right now, which is something I don't think anyone has ever expected to come out of anyone's mouth. And if they did, they're just a flat out fucking liar. So yeah, in Indy, I don't think this is gonna be a really relatively close game. I am going Indy in this game. If Tennessee somehow pulls off the shocking victory, it almost would not be surprising, but the way that these two teams have been playing this season, it would be surprising. So, give me Indy, and I think it's going to be a very, very good game. This one, I think everyone had this one circled for a long time. Sunday night football. You got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is it, everyone. Aaron Rodgers finally gets to take on his former team. The Green Bay Packers, it was not a pretty win, especially with the Cardinals not having Kyler Murray play in that game. But you know what? They showed up when they absolutely needed to, and the Packers got the job done. Uh, but you just wonder, is this team on fraudulent watch? I'm just wondering. And as for the Steelers, oh, that loss to Cincinnati was not great, but I did kind of see that one coming. I wasn't a big believer in Pittsburgh this season. I think they're just in a place where everyone else around them was suffering, so they were just the best by default. But this is going to be interesting. Both of these teams do not really play good. They haven't really played good football in quite some time. Since like the beginning of the season. They both really want this game. Green Bay wants to beat the living hell out of Aaron Rodgers, and they still have Micah Parsons. They still have that defense, which is finally getting a little bit healthier. So is that offense as well. Pittsburgh, this is probably the one game Aaron Rodgers is going to fucking show up for. This is the one game where Aaron Rodgers is going to be vintage Aaron Rodgers. Like, this is the one game where, in his mind, truly matters, probably more than the Super Bowl, ironically. So, who's gonna take this one? It's tempting to go Pittsburgh. It would be very interesting to see the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers take his revenge out on the team that basically drafted his replacement behind his back. But I gotta go with the Packers here. I think they're the more complete team at this point of the year. They're gonna find a way to get an ugly victory out of this one. It's gonna be a really, really damn good game. Yes, the last time it was the Packers were on Sunday Night Football, they tied with the Cowboys, which I still hate. But I think the Packers do have the better team on paper. I think they're gonna show up for this one. They're finally getting a bit healthier on both sides of the ball. It's gonna be a really, really damn interesting game. But yeah, I'm going Green Bay in this one. We'll see how that one rolls. And this game, Monday Night Football. You got the Washington Commanders going to the heart of America to take on the 4-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Commanders. It was not a pretty victory. Or not even a victory. It was not a pretty game for the Washington Commanders last week. They got blown the doors off by the Cowboys. And Jaden Daniels is probably not going to start this week, as he did not show up for practice after his injury in the Cowboys game last week. And you're still missing Scary Terry as well for the Commanders. It's just not looking great for Washington. And I think the wheels are starting to finally fall off this team, which is unfortunate. It was a pretty damn good team last year. You kind of knew it was going to take a step back this year, but I don't think it was going to be this ugly this quickly. As for the Chiefs, they're going in the opposite direction. The most dominating victory I've ever seen this Chiefs team put up. 31-0. Patrick Mahomes was pulled to rest him in the third quarter. I did not believe my eyes when I saw that. Andy Reid's first ever regular season shutout. Congratulations to him. Oh, man. And the first shutout in the regular season by the Chiefs since 2011. So I'm really happy to see that. That offense finally clicking on all fronts. With Rashee Rice back in the lineup, that offense looks so different. Worthy, Rice, Pacheco, Hunt, Kelsey. You got a bunch of weapons on there. It's going to take every single advantage of this hurt Washington team. I gotta go Kansas City in this one. I think this Chiefs team is for real. They are back, and it's going to be a very, very long game for the Commanders. In terms of the points scored, though, I could see the Chiefs easily putting up like over 30 points for the Commanders. They're not going to get shut out, but I highly doubt they're going to get past like 10 or something. So I am going to go maybe like, I'm going to go 42. I think that's a safe pick, but it's not going to be a pretty game for Washington, and I expect this Chiefs team to continue rolling. But with that being said, I think this is where I end the stream. I've made all my picks. It's going to be a very interesting week this week. I'm going to try and improve on the 11-4 record. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share the channel around. It helps me grow. I'm looking to potentially play Phasmophobia on, I don't know, either Saturday night or Sunday. I don't know which time yet. But when I do, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Obviously, donations, Discord server, all completely optional. Be appreciated if you donated or joined my public servers. But yeah, this week's going to be really damn interesting. We're going to see how well this goes. But with that being said, see you later, peeps. Thanks for watching.